were the most expensive used cars of 2022? In standard YouTube lexicon, let's dive right in. Welcome back to Car Trouble. Now I can't do a video that involves driving or walking around next to cars because I have a broken foot. So it's a studio-based portion of automotive bishop bashing today. Now I'm sure like me you've been kept awake at night by the question of which were the most expensive used cars that changed hands in 2022? What cars do the super duper rich elite buy? You know, the folks in the world that have amassed or inherited more money than you can piss away in several lifetimes. Can I interest sir in a Rolls-Royce Phantom? How much? It's $365,000, sir. Pfft, don't show me the bargain basement crap. What kind of car is sir looking for? It doesn't matter as long as it's expensive. I'm not going to drive it anyway. I'm going to look at it. And I'm going to lock it in a room where no one else can look at it. I'm going to park it next to my Picassos that only I'm allowed to look at. Meh. Anyway, stick around till number 1 because it will blow your mind. So at number 10 of the 2022 Bonkers Used Car Hall of Fame, a 1968 Maserati 450S Fantuzzi, powered by a 4.5 litre V8. This was number 9 of only 10 made, and was driven to several successes by Carroll Shelby, amongst others. It's changed hands a few times between collectors based in America, the UK, and even Japan before returning back to the US and getting a full restoration in the 90s. And the price of the cheapest car on the list? Well, this one sold in auction in California for $9.25 million. Or £7.6 million. Ninth place was a stunning 1960 Ferrari 250 GT short wheelbase Berlinetta Competizione. It's one of 46 aluminium-bodied lightweight race-ready versions, powered by a 3-litre V12. It finished 5th overall at Le Mans in 1960 and then changed hands and colours several times over the next few decades, before being sold to a L'Oreal executive / car collector. He kept it until the year 2000, and the next owner then restored it lovingly in 2013, returning it back to yellow and refitting it with an original engine and gearbox. That was enough for it to make $9,440,000, or £7.762 million. In 8th place is a 1924 Hispano-Suiza H6C Tulipwood Torpedo. Probably the most famous car to come from this manufacturer, and it was a one-off order by a guy called Andre Dubonnet, who was the heir to the fortune amassed by making the Dubonnet drink thing. He commissioned it to do some racing in it, but what was most remarkable about this 8-litre monster is that the bodywork is made of wood. Not tulip wood, as the name suggests, but mahogany. Now you'd expect it to weigh a lot, but it used aircraft design to use strips of mahogany only 1/8 of an inch thick, and then aluminium riveted together. Can you imagine? I'm just going outside to varnish the car. Good looking car, but I can't imagine it'll make you a hit with the ladies. Until they find out how much it cost, of course. My car's made of wood. It cost $9.5 million. In 7th place is a 1937 Mercedes 540k Special Roadster. Powered by a 5.4 litre straight 8, it also had a supercharger which could be engaged manually for short bursts, or when you floor the throttle, so it was good for 110 miles an hour. Imagine only 180 horsepower out of 5.4 litres. How times have changed in the Mercedes camp. When it was new, it cost the equivalent of £185,000 in today's money. That's Lamborghini Urus money just to drive around looking like somebody from the Gestapo. Sold to the man at the back who's dressed like Prince Harry going to a costume party for $9.9 million. The 6th most expensive car sold at auction last year was a 1937 Bugatti Type 57 SC Atalante Coupe. This one is allegedly the nicest of 17 cars ever made. Made 80 years before Andrew Tate started using the brand as an insult.
Well, what colour's your Bugatti?
The 57 SC had a 3.3 litre straight 8 with a thumping supercharger strapped to it, which hip thrusted out 210 horsepower and was good for 123 miles an hour. Considering this was pre-war 1930s, that's pretty rapid. Coupled with a low-slung chassis, this Bugatti is considered by many to be the first supercar. It's an exceptional bit of automotive art, this one. At first glance, it looks like 3 cars welded together. A pre-war split-screen Beetle at the back, a bit of pre-war Jaguar or Bentley at the front, and maybe an Isetta bubble car in the middle. But it somehow works. This car is achingly gorgeous from every angle. I could stare at it for hours. It's such a shame we can't get cars that beautiful and quirky anymore. The guy that bought this in 2022 could have bought 3 brand new Bugatti Chirons for the same price, but instead he chose to cough up $10.3 million. Scraping into the top 5 with a face only its mother could love was this 1937 Talbot Lego T150-C-SS Goutido. powered by a 4-litre straight six, which is good for about 140 horsepower and has been known to hit 117 miles an hour. This is reportedly the nicest example of a tall but Lego there is. They were rare anyway, with numbers in the low double digits, but this is one of two with the fully enclosed wings front and back that make the experience of changing a tyre in the rain just that little bit shitter. Apparently this is one of the most beautiful cars ever made. But beauty is subjective and I just can't see it. It looks like a depressed friend, like Eeyore. If you were having a great day and you looked out the window to look at its sorry face, you'd feel instantly sadder. Not everybody agrees though. Somebody was willing to pay handsomely for the car, and now it holds the accolade as the most expensive French car ever sold. A bargain at $13,425,000. In fourth place is a Ferrari F2003 GA Formula 1 car. Now this is a pretty significant car as it was driven by the great Michael Schumacher throughout most of the 2003 World Championship, and it helped him to win his 6th World Championship title. It's powered by a 3-litre V10 which pumps out an astonishing 930 horsepower and revs to 19,000 RPM. In all, 6 of these cars were built for that season, but this is by far the most successful. It was introduced mid-season as they were still using a 2002 car till that point, but it only mustered 1 podium finish. Despite the car's late introduction, Schumacher still managed to wrap up the championship with 6 races to go. An obscenely wealthy Formula 1 fan picked this up at auction in Geneva for 13.6 million Swiss francs, which at the time equated to around $14.6 million. In third place is a 1955 Ferrari 410 Spider that was raced by none other than Fangio and Carroll Shelby amongst others. One of only 2 examples, this 410 Spider entered 40 races, won 11 and achieved 19 podium finishes. Its 4.9-litre twin-spark V12 kicked out 380 horsepower, which for 1955 was insane. On the fuel tank is a handwritten inscription by Carroll Shelby that reads, "Mr. Ferrari told me that this was the best car he ever built." It sold for a knicker-elastic snapping $22 million. The second most expensive used car of 2022 was a 1998 McLaren F1. Only 64 of these were ever built for the road and cost $1 million in 1998. But for that you got a miracle of engineering. With a custom-made, naturally aspirated 627 horsepower BMW V12 and a carbon fibre chassis, it was capable of 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds and 240 miles an hour flat out. 240 miles an hour in 1998. To this day, it's still the fastest naturally aspirated road car ever made, and it's 25 years old. The 3-seat configuration had the driver positioned in the centre, I guess so that he could sit next to both of his mistresses at the same time without one of them feeling left out. This example is one of the last produced and has covered 16,500 miles in its life, although sadly, as is to be expected, the last owner had it locked away for 10 years in a climate-controlled garage. That's the depressing truth about cars on this list. They're often locked away from the rest of the world where only one person can enjoy their existence. This one sold for $25.6 million in California in August. And the top spot by a ridiculous margin of more than $100 million and beating the second most expensive car ever sold by well over £70 million is this. The most expensive car, not just sold in 2022, but ever. Ever. I don't think this record's going to be beaten for a very long time. Not at least until inflation means that a loaf of bread costs like £1,000. The most expensive car ever sold is a 1955 Mercedes 300 SLR Uhlenhaut. It's one of only 2 ever made, and at the time it was the fastest car in the world, topping 180 miles an hour, thanks in part to its 310 horsepower 3-litre inline 8. Both models have been owned by Mercedes since new, and this one has taken pride of place in the Mercedes exhibit. The classic car world was a bit stunned when Mercedes announced they were going to sell it. Apparently they're going to use the proceeds to fund scholarships and research into climate change. Now if you're deflated that you'll no longer have the chance to view this incredible iconic car at Mercedes exhibition anymore, don't worry, they still got the other one. Bidding finally finished for the SLR at €135 million. That's $143 million. Or £115 million. Allegedly, the car's been purchased by British billionaire James Ratcliffe, who, let's be honest, is never going to sleep alone ever again. Now, I need to mention that Mr. Ratcliffe, in a statement that's very uncharacteristic of your usual billionaire collector, has said that he will make the car available for public viewing on special occasions. Top man. Let's hope he sticks by that promise. That just about wraps it up for this video. If you're enjoying the content and you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. It is free to do it and it really helps us with YouTube's algorithm. See you in the next one!